Wait for it. Wait for it, guys. And you might be like, okay, wait for what? Waiting is generally good life advice, but what exactly should I be waiting for right now? And before we really get going here, let's also do the YouTube thing, which is you should like and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. Ring the bell, guys. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. All that stuff. Why does everybody do that? There's a reason everybody does that. It's because YouTube presents content to people to view, and it helps the channel grow. And YouTube determines what's good content to promote based on people doing things like smashing that like button and, all of that. So, smash the like button, guys. Well, if you're like me, you've been thinking a lot about the new graphics cards that have been coming out. We got the RTX 30 series, and the hype was real for that, right? NVIDIA's releasing specs that just seem absolutely crazy compared to the previous generation. Now that we've seen actual independent benchmarks, we see that while the increased performance is extremely impressive, it's maybe not quite as impressive as some of those benchmarks led us to believe, where it's doubling the performance, in incredibly RTX, ray tracing dependent applications. Now, again, don't get me wrong, the improvement is amazing. I'm super excited about the 30 series cards from NVIDIA. And I think you have every right to be excited about them too. I mean, everybody has been excited about them. Have you seen that there's no stock available, right? And that's not actually true. Stock has come available. People have been getting a hold of them. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now. Should you spend all day sitting there? So should you spend all day sitting there refreshing the page, getting on all the Discord servers and notification things that people are giving you on, like, let me know if this card becomes available. Tell me right now. I need to know. I need to know. Give me the card. I need to know, guys. Give me one now. I'm going to sit here refreshing all day. I'm working from home, right? They don't know if I'm really working. I've got my tab open. I'm looking over here at deals, right? There's if that's what you want to do with your time, you do you, right? But let's talk about, okay, is that really what you should be doing right now? Why would it maybe make more sense to wait? Well, a few days ago, AMD had a showcase of their latest Ryzen CPUs. And wow, side note, AMD killing it with Ryzen, right? AMD is killing it with Ryzen. I definitely hopped on the Intel train for this build right before the 3000 series launch. And that's actually related to what we're talking about here, right? Which is, there's always this issue when you're into PCs, which is, do I buy something now or do I wait for the next best thing? And you can be easily trapped in the mindset of, I'm just going to wait for the next best thing. If I buy something now, then I'm just going to have instant buyer's remorse. And I'm usually on the side of, look, just buy something now. Just buy it now. It's okay. And for the most part, I think that's good advice, except when you're actually right up against the release date of a big new product. And when that happens, it actually could be a bad idea. For example, if you bought an RTX 2080 Ti for $1,200 or whatever a month ago, you're probably kicking yourself right now because the 3080 for $700 outperforms it massively, right? And we should be getting a 3070 coming out soon that should be at least matching it in performance, if not beating it. So wait, aren't I the guy telling you to wait for it? Right. So why wait for it? Why not? Okay. So right now, I think is still the right time to wait. Yes, the 30 series is great, and you might be forced into waiting just because it is hard to get right now. How do you get one, right? But people are getting them. Like I said, spending all day sitting there clicking on them. So let's get into some actual evidence. Why wait? So as I was saying, AMD at their latest CPU event had a little reveal at the end where they gave some of their benchmarks of their Big Navi graphics cards. Now, Again, we have to take any benchmarks released by the manufacturer with a grain of salt. You want to wait for independent reviews. But let's see how that lines up if we put those up against actual independent reviews of those same games with the same settings on comparable, if not identical, systems. It can't be identical systems because they're running the latest AMD CPU on AMD's released benchmarks. Anyway, so I should be able to pop it up, the graphic up right here. And this is from Tech Power Up. And if you look at where the AMD benchmarks fall, sure, they don't beat a 3080. Now, there could be all sorts of shenanigans here about like maybe this isn't really the biggest of the big Navis, and there's people speculating about all that. And sure, that might be true. But let's not get too hung up on that. Let's say this is their best card. Okay, it's a little bit slower than a 3080, but that's still amazing performance. And then look at it compared to the 2080 Ti. So the 2080 Ti is, at least in these specific games under AMD's specific settings, the 2080 Ti is much slower than a Big Navi card. So what does that mean? So why does that mean you should wait? Well, AMD usually releases their stuff at a lower price than NVIDIA. And that's been their strategy for a while now. They haven't competed at the highest of the high end. They've offered better value. So if we just wait a bit, well, how long do we have to wait? Looks like October 28th should be a big date. October 28th is when we're supposed to get the big full reveal and possibly launch. We'll see. And whether or not something's a paper launch or there's in stock or whatever, we don't know. Now, NVIDIA has responded to that date and has delayed their 3070 launch to the 29th of October. So they're definitely trying to have a direct competition happening there with that card. And that, again, brings me back to my point of you should wait. Okay, let's think back a little bit further to the last generation of cards. So when the RTX 20 series launched, they had the 2070, the 2080. And then what I'm getting at is they then, to compete better with AMD at various price points, they launched super variants of cards. And they readjusted prices, like the price of the RTX 2060, down lower to compete better with AMD. In other words, AMD and NVIDIA play the price game, right? They play the price performance game, and AMD is bringing really good performance here, right? So they're finally competing at the high end. Now, I'm not saying that they are winning at the high end, unless there is some shenanigans here and they're really holding back their biggest of the big Navis, which I'm not buying into that. I mean, I'll be super thrilled if that's the case, but I don't think it's going to be the case. But if we do just get this performance, something at least somewhat similar to what they've released in this benchmark, again, probably hand-picked, cherry-picked games or whatever, if we get that kind of performance for a significantly lower price than the 3080, if we get that kind of performance near $500, which, remember, $499 is supposed to be the price for a 3070, which is supposed to be somewhat comparable to, if not slightly better than, the 2080 Ti. Then suddenly we're going to start seeing a lot more interesting things happening, I think, with the pricing between these. And then are we going to see upgraded versions of the NVIDIA cards? There's already been a lot of leaks that they're going to have upgraded versions of those cards. And are those upgraded cards coming in at a higher price point, or are they coming in at the current price point and dropping the initial release prices to a lower point, like what happened with some of the super cards in the 2060 last time around? And I'm getting back to my point again here. Why wait? We're given the situation where even if you don't want to wait and you want to buy one right now, you're going to be investing a ton of time and you might not even get one, right? If that's you, you do you, right? You do you, okay? But if it's already going to be very, very difficult to get a hold of a 30 series card, you might not need to spend every waking minute trying to. If we just wait until the end of October, just a couple of weeks here, we're going to have a much better idea of what AMD is bringing to the table and how NVIDIA might respond. So, again, I just encourage you to wait, and that's what I'll be doing. Now, last little piece here. Some of you guys are like, but AMD's probably not going to be actually competing with the 30 series cards because they probably didn't have ray tracing enabled. They should have some ray tracing capabilities, but nothing compared to NVIDIA. And you know what? That's a fair point if you're super, super into ray tracing. Now, I have an RTX 2070, so I've been able to experience ray tracing in the games that offer them, and my experience has usually been that the increase in visuals is not made up for by the decrease in frame rate. So if I could run a game at a buttery smooth frame rate, over 100 frames per second, and then turn on all the ray tracing stuff and struggle to hit 60, I'm not sure it's worth it. It depends on the title. It depends on exactly what you're doing. Are you doing something real competitive here? Are you just sightseeing, right? So I can respect different opinions of here. And if your opinion is, I want ray tracing at the highest possible settings, then again, the NVIDIA cards are probably going to be the way to go. But we also don't actually know that for sure yet. So once again, why not wait? Ring the bell, guys. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. All that stuff.